Hi guys, Ruth Delgado here, and this is Ruth Delgado's Glamour Page. So, welcome to my channel. If you have not seen me before, and if you actually have seen me before, well, welcome back. So, I decided to get on camera today and share a little, probably, this might be a short video, probably short video with you guys. So, I was thinking about something, a conversation I had with someone a while ago. And I decided to do a video about it today. So I remember that there was a time where I had a few guys in my DMs trying to talk to me, trying to chat, trying to, I guess, link up, whatever. And I'm filling them out to try to see what they're talking about, what they're about, are we compatible, whatever circumstances. Sorry, y'all, my curls are a little bit out of order. But anyhow, so um, this guy's trying to talk to me, and I noticed some things, and so that's why I'm going to name this video. Is it red flags, or is it just common issues from being a human being? Okay, so this man revealed a number of things to me that really kind of made my red flag radar go off. And if you're not familiar with red flags, I just found out what red flags are myself a few years ago. And basically, red flags are warning signs in behavior, in character, or in energy of a person that you get usually before you connect with that person and become friends with them and or become intimate with them or become, in a relationship, whatever the circumstance or situation that presents itself is. So the red flags are different things that they do that show you that they may not be the best option for you as an intimate partner, or they may not be the best option for you as a friend. Or if they are a good option as a friend, it can't go any farther than that. So, keeping that in mind, I was talking to this guy through DMs, and he was asking me a number of different questions and things. I was asking him a number of different questions and things. And it was about 4 different things specifically that I recognized in this conversation that let me know that it was kind of like red flaggish or like stop signish. So the very, very first thing for me was when he asked me, can I cook? And um, I told him that I can, but I just usually don't. And he replied to me that only thing he could do is boil an egg. Even though I didn't even ask him if he could cook, it was good for him to let me know that he couldn't. So that was one red flag for me personally, because I love a man that cooks and that knows how to cook very well. Not to say that I would never date a man if he doesn't cook, but it's just that mm, it's like a bonus for me when a man cooks and cooks well. So that was the first red flag for me. Then the next red flag for me was he has a child. Even though I'm not going to completely just never give a person a chance just because they have children, at the same time, that is definitely something that I look at as a negative when I'm trying to be serious and thinking about getting in a relationship with someone, because I don't want to go through the complication of trying to get close to your kids and then possibly get close to them and then end up having to break off away from them eventually because we end up breaking up. So that's basically majorly the reason why I usually don't like when somebody that I'm thinking about possibly having a relationship with or a future with has kids. Another thing that was a red flag that he showed me is I asked him, does he have any anger issues? Because he mentioned that he's in the service, the Marines at that, and I have in my past dated Marines. I've dated two Marines, and baby, I know that you have to be very careful with people from the service period, but definitely Marines, because a lot of them special service, they do a lot of stuff that's not like stuff that normal everyday people can understand and that normal people do. So because I know that, I decided to ask him, how is his temperament and how well does he control his temperament around people that he loves and he cares for? And he mentions to me the fourth red flag, which is that he does have an issue with temperament issues, and it can be very little small things that can upset him. And he said that he is careful about how he acts around the person that he loves and cares for, though. And so I'm like, that sounds good and all. I didn't say this to him, but I'm saying this to you guys. I'm like, that sounds good and all. But to me, in my head, I'm wondering, because he said he's careful with how he treats people that he loves and cares for, I'm wondering to myself, well, what do I have to be careful about before you decide that you want to love and care for me? Do I have to be worried that you're going to be mean and or short with me because you're impatient and you have anger issues? I didn't say this to him, but this is what I'm thinking in my head. And the fifth and final red flag possibility that I noticed is that he responds to me telling him, I responded to his message letting me know that he does have anger management issues, but he knows how to behave better around people that he loves and cares for. I responded and said, well, I had to ask you that because I have some anger issues myself, but I have gotten better over the years because I have done anger management classes as well as learned different ways to teach myself how to manage my anger and be better with how I manage my anger. And so I have come to recognize that the more that I'm around people that are very good at managing their anger, it's better for me to learn how to balance and manage my anger better. And so I explained that to him. And y'all know what he had a nerve to say to me, and I was like, what? He says to me, oh, you got to make sure you're careful with that anger. And you have to make sure that you learn how to manage it and make sure that you don't act that way towards people that you love and care for. I said, sir, how you gonna say that to me? And at least I've told you ways that I'm actually literally working on exactly that. And you told me you have the same issue, but you're not even working on it. You haven't even told me not one way that you're actively working on this problem that you know you have. And you're going to tell me that I should learn how to manage mine better when I already mentioned to you that I'm learning how to manage mine better, and I have been learning how to manage mine better. So I just recognized from that either one or two things I had to do or have to do. Um, when I, peep things like that is one, just completely cut the guy off and just never speak to him again. Or two, friend zone him. You know, now mind you, I friend zone every guy before I ever date because I gotta get to know you, and the only way I can get to know you is if we're friends, and have that friendship. But so when I say friend zone them, I mean friend zone them in a way where I know I'm never going to be in a relationship with them. Being as though I friend zone every guy that I date, at the same time, every guy that I date, I don't end up. I mean, every guy that I friend zone, I don't end up dating. Does that make sense? I hope it did. But I friend zone every guy that I date because I jumped into relationships when I was younger, and I learned the hard way that was the wrong move. So therefore now, no matter how much I like the guy, I friend zone him first on purpose. Um, First of all, to get to know him, and then second of all, to see if we're actually compatible. Because too many times, um, people are in relationships with people they're not even compatible with, and I don't even know if they care. I don't even know if people be caring about whether people be compatible with them or not. But it should matter because that will let you know why there's so many people that be in relationships and they don't work and they end up becoming unsuccessful. Because y'all not compatible to start with. Y'all just jumped into a relationship because y'all thought that y'all both were attractive. Just because you're attracted to a person doesn't mean that you're actually compatible to that person and that y'all can actually tolerate each other in a relationship. And so that's one of the major reasons why I purposefully make sure for quite some time now, since like my late 20s, I started to make sure that every guy that I get into a relationship or think about getting into a relationship with, I make sure that I date that person and friend zone that person to get to know that person before I jump into a relationship or anything intimate with them. That way, if there are any red flags that lets me know that I shouldn't be intimate with them, then I'm going to take heed to that. Now, I have another option as well. The other option is to be friends with that person and just keep them at a distance and never consider them as somebody that I could ever take seriously and be in a real relationship with. And that's simply because I know that we're not compatible enough for a relationship. We may be compatible enough for a friendship. Because some people, that's how it is. Some people you can be friends with, but you can't have like an intimate relationship with, because then it really takes the friendship and relationship off balance. So that's why I recognize, like, okay, so this is how you promote or demote people. If you recognize, like I recognize with this guy, that this person is showing some red flags already, they're already making me think that they're not a person that is accountable for their behavior, and they're also not a person that fixes behavior that they clearly notice and understand that they have that should be fixed. So I'm just teaching myself how to kind of like wean out, you know, different things and find out who I'm dealing with when I'm dealing with people. Recognize certain behaviors and characteristic traits and see, where do I want to put this in my life? Do I want to have it in my life at all? Um, I guess this is like just telling little short stories at this point. So I'm going to tell you guys another short story time about another guy that was trying to talk to me and connect with me in my DMs. So this guy first started off liking a lot of different pages, liking a lot of different pictures. Like, that's typically how a lot of these guys start off. They get on your page, start liking a bunch of pictures and stuff, and the next thing you know, they're in your DMs. So, this particular guy, he hit me at first. He was liking a bunch of pictures, like I said first. Then he connected to me in my DMs and was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Hi," had nice, like, basic chat. One thing that I can honestly say about this specific guy that was different than most guys is that this guy wasn't as boring as a lot of guys are. A lot of guys, when they try to talk to me, it's so weird because they be so boring sometimes. Like, okay, I do understand that when you're first meeting somebody, you don't know anything about them, so you have to ask some questions. So that's not the part that I feel like it's boring. But the part that I really feel like is boring is like they ask the most basic and corny questions. And it's so surface level. It's nothing deep and it's nothing like substantial that really makes you feel like this person really thinks or they're really calculated or they're really, like the type of people that are interesting, adventurous, like instead of, like I said, boring kind of energy. So that's why I decided to talk to this guy, and just like carry on just with a little conversation. Wasn't nothing deep. So talked to the guy for a little bit in DMs for a few days. And then he asked me for my number. And since we had already been talking for a few days on DM, I said, okay, I'll give him my number. And I did. So when I gave him the number, he called me soon after. And we started conversation. Now, there were a few slight red flags in that conversation as well. But they, like I said, they were slight. They weren't very bold. They were kind of subtle. So it's kind of hard for me to really remember them right now. But I had to cut him loose completely. Because let me tell you guys what he did. So he asked me for my number. After I gave him the number, soon after, he soon called me. And we started having conversation. And like I said, I could talk to this guy. So we actually talked for like 2, maybe 3 hours. Like we talked for quite some time. And I remember we talked for quite some time because I remember thinking to myself, oh, okay, this guy might be kind of decent because I don't usually talk this long to people. So I kind of was looking at that as like a good sign that we talked for that long. So I kind of had some good energy behind this connection for a moment. Short, very, very short moment. So, had a good conversation that day, a good long conversation as well. And then we hung up. And then the next day, he texted me. No, he DM'd me, I think, and said that he wanted to talk to me again. And so I told him, oh, that's not a problem. Um, Call me when you want to chat. And so, since he had already mentioned that he was thinking about calling, I kind of was like keeping an ear out for my phone, knowing that he might call. And some time passed by and no phone call. Now, mind you, I wasn't pressed on the man calling me. It's just that when he told me that he was going to call, that literally naturally opted me to expect the call, especially because the last time he told me he was going to call and I expected the call, he called, which was the day before. So I expected him to be the same the next day. Time's still going by. He still never calls. So I was just like, what's going on? So I ended up texting him and I said, you said that you were going to call. What happened? And he says to me, oh, I found someone else. That was fast. I ain't say that to him. I ain't say nothing to him. I just blocked and deleted him after he said he found somebody else. But that's what he said. And it was just like, it's so funny to me because it's like, you know, that guy still will try to call me a number of different times after he said he found somebody else. So clearly, sir, whoever you thought you found, you didn't find. But then you thought you was going to come back to me after talking my ear off and actually making me think that you had some kind of substantial conversation too, which is very unusual. So he was manipulative. Y'all, how much I'm really getting to know and understand how people are, it's really blowing my mind because it's giving me no choice but to accept that people are jacked up and I just, quite frankly, don't want to deal with it. Or if I do want to deal with anything concerning it, I'm going to put a filter on how I deal with it. It's going to be my way or no way at all. And with these two, stories and examples, it just kind of like lets me know, like, see, that's exactly why you got to be the CEO of your own life. That's exactly why you can't look at every possible person that tells you that they want to be in a relationship or that tells you that they're interested in you or that shows some type of interest in you that you even think is attractive. Still don't give them no chance. You gotta make people be your friend for a while and see what kind of friend they are and see how they are to their other friends and meet some people that they know and see how they interact and stuff. Like, you really got to get to know people these days because it's like, I feel like honestly that's why so many relationships don't work out. Because too many times people don't know one another. They jump into relationships right away and they literally do not get to know who this person is that they're jumping into a relationship with. And then they want to know why the relationship doesn't last long and why it doesn't work out. Because you rushed it. You didn't even see if y'all were compatible. You know, it takes time to find out whether you're compatible with a person. I think that a lot of us get into relationships based off of physical features and compatibility as opposed to based off of emotional, spiritual, and mental compatibility. And that is exactly why marriages don't last or barely ever get to the altar now. But if you do get married, it's a possibility, too many times a great possibility, that the marriage is not going to last because y'all barely even knew each other before y'all even got together. And I get it, sometimes people get so excited. They really think that this is their person. They really think that this is the one for them. And they just, head get all in the clouds and start moving too fast and not even really trying to, but just get so excited about having somebody. I do understand that, like, energy or that focus, but I also understand that being that way, you can really hurt yourself and you can really prevent yourself from being in the best relationships that you could possibly be in because you're not getting to know anybody. And that's why I feel like it's very important to date and date around. I'm not saying you have to be intimate with everybody. No, you do not. You shouldn't, actually. But dating is not being intimate. Dating is just that, just dating, just going out, having fun, having a good time, getting to experience this person in a setting outside of the norms that y'all are probably on a day-to-day used to, and getting to know them on a more personal bonding type of setting and level where you can see if y'all are compatible, if y'all work well together, if y'all have the same type of goals, and or y'all complement each other in y'all goals, or do y'all have the same type of aspirations and beliefs in religion and stuff like that. Like, half of the time people don't even know what religion their partner is, if they are a religion. It's just like, it's so many things that is being shunned and frowned upon that actually should be accepted. It should be accepted to date around. It shouldn't be accepted to sleep around. But dating around is very healthy because it shows you and it gives you an opportunity to find out who is compatible to you. Because just because you're a human being doesn't make you compatible to the next human being. But I think that people, are so used to just jumping into stuff with people, jumping into relationships, jumping into friendships, that they don't give themselves a chance or the opportunity to really actually get to know that real person and see who they really are, and see if you can even tolerate them, and or if they can tolerate you. So guys, this was a very unplanned video. Um, but I just decided to bring it to you guys because I just thought it was just interesting thinking about how we have to take it upon ourselves as people to be CEOs of our own life and promote and or demote whoever we please, however we please, to ensure that we're not hurting ourselves in our relationships. And or if we do hurt ourselves in our relationships, that we figure out how to fix it and stop conditioning ourselves to feel like that's what we deserve. All right, guys. So I decided to bring this to you guys' attention because I am on a self-healing journey here where I'm seriously learning how to heal myself, heal my mind, my heart, and my spirit, and my energy, and recognize other people's complications and problems and issues so that I can put them in their proper places where they will benefit me in my life. Because everybody doesn't have to be your boyfriend. Everybody doesn't have to be your lover because they're attractive. Sometimes you can just have some attractive friends. And I've come to recognize that. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And so that's why I recognize, like, okay, some people that might have some toxic ways, I don't have to just totally shun them, but I definitely have to put them in their correct place and space to the point where I don't allow them to get too close to hurt me or put me in a position to be hurt like I have dealt with in the past. All right, guys. So I know you love this video. I just know you do. So make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And make sure you what? Make sure you become a part of the Truth Tribe. Because when you vibing with Ruth, baby, let me tell you, you vibing with the truth. And that's just that on that. Period. All right, guys. I will see you in the next video.